partnership that's led to 7 albums, multiple top 20 chart placements, and over 1,000 live performances. Filled with husband and wife vocal harmonies, Mexican stringed instruments, melodic hooks, and blasts of mariachi-style brass, David WYCE Museum's albums fly the worldly flag for a brand of Americana that reaches far beyond American borders, fusing Mexican-inspired songs with Appalachian and Irish influences in a style that they have dubbed Mejo-Americana. Their new album, Line of Light, was recorded in Nashville with Carl Brommel from My Morning Jacket as producer. After a few weeks of soft opening events at the new listening room, David WYCE Museum will christen the venue tonight with Heather Maloney opening. Please welcome back to WYCE's Studio X, David WYCE Museum.
I refuse to live in fear. Won't give them what they want. The path ahead's not clear. Through the trees I see the sun. Though the darkness is deep and the raging beasts run wild, even they must sleep. That's when we'll move my child. Every day is a day. Every mountain just a small hill. Something washes away. It uncovers the gold. Every day is a day. Every mountain just a small hill. Something washes away. It uncovers the gold. Now we make a ring that the shadows cannot cross. There are names that we won't speak as the stars turn on and off. Here's my prayer for you. When the light is at its weakest, that you'll find something true, that you will know that sweetness. Every day is a day. Every mountain just a small hill. Washes away, it uncovers the gold. Every day is a day. Every mountain just a small hill. Something washes away, it uncovers the gold.
David WYCE Museum live in Studio X here at WYCE. Welcome, you guys.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be back.
It's been about 3 years since you've been in Grand Rapids. Welcome back. Would you introduce your bandmates for me?
Oh, yeah. We have on the electric bass, Mr. Benjamin Cogan from Framingham, Massachusetts. On the trumpet, Mr. Sam Deschen from Portland, Oregon. How you doing? And from Athens, Georgia, we have Mr. Philip Mayer on percussion. And my name is David WYCE, and
I'm Suze Slezak.
Well, we are so thrilled that you're here. You guys are going to be opening, basically christening the new listening room tonight. We've done a lot of local bands there, kind of doing soft opening launch, but you are the first national touring band that's going to be playing the listening room tonight, so that's going to be very exciting. I want to talk to you about Line of Light. You guys are based in Charlottesville, and there were a lot of kind of things that happened socially around the time that you guys went into the studio to start recording this, namely the the alt-right rally that was going on in Charlottesville. So as you've had, we're dealing with some mental health and bipolar issues. Talk to me about how all of that came together and how the final product of Line of Light finally came to fruition there.
So you mentioned I have a history of bipolar disorder from my young adult life. When I was in my early 20s, I first experienced the excitement and drama and trauma of mania and depression in its extreme forms. And we just had our second kid, and he was about 1 year old, and we were returning to the studio to release this, to record this album, Line of Light. And I just realized that my the symptoms of that illness were flaring up again. So as we were driving to Nashville, I was calling the psychiatrist and kind of trying to get back on lithium and really get help again and stabilize again. And meanwhile, as this album was being recorded, I was weaning him from nursing because you can't nurse on some of these medicines, and so it's a pretty intense personal time. But I think for me, how the album relates to all that is that it's really talking about these kind of bigger issues. It's not, the songs aren't very specific, actually. They're kind of talking about bigger themes of light and darkness and good and evil and persevering and living without fear, as you just heard in that last one. And to me, that those themes are very meaningful in the face of a pretty big hurdle like something like bipolar disorder.
Well, I think it's very, I myself deal with the same issues. So when I was reading up on, kind of the backstory of the album and, what you were dealing with, I really wanted to kind of talk to you about it because I think it's an issue that needs to be talked about. So I appreciate your honesty on that.
Yeah, one thing I feel like when I have sort of a platform and a microphone in front of me to share about it, most importantly is it's so easy when you have acid reflux or a broken leg or cancer to talk about those issues with your body. And it's really hard to, understand that that's what's happening to you when it's the brain, when it's your control center that is not functioning properly. It's so hard to understand that there is a problem going on because it's your whole perception, it's your whole outlook, and it's your whole life experience. And it's hard for other people to understand because there's no x-ray that shows it. There's no blood test that shows it. So it's hard for everyone to understand it, both within and without. But I think one of the biggest changes that we can all make is starting to talk about, my brain it's not you, it's not even your mental health. It's like, that's like this lofty thing, but it's like your brain is not firing properly. And for me, it, fires really fast sometimes in mania, and then it slows down so much in depression, in the same way that addicts' brains somehow can't stop drinking, can't say no to that drink, even though the rest of us say, just say no, and they say, I can't. And in the same way, we can't get out of bed when we're extremely depressed.
Right. I was listening to an interview that you did, and like you said, if your leg was hurting, or if you were having heart issues, like you would deal with that, and your brain is an organ, and if you're not dealing with that as well, if it's not healthy, you would take care of other parts of your body the way that you would need to take care of your brain as well. So it's a very good example of why we need to take care of that organ as well. David, what was your, when she said this to you, I mean, and obviously you support as a husband, but, what helped her through this?
Well, I mean, I think there is, you have to kind of rely on your community to get through kind of personal challenges like this. And I think that's something that we've been dealing with kind of in a very personal way and through this bipolar relapse, and then also kind of as a community in Charlottesville after this alt-right rally and kind of the trauma of that for our community. And so I feel like there are a lot of parallels of just like there is a lot of love and support out there. There's a lot of light out there, and sometimes you kind of just have to like use a lot of energy to turn towards that and to focus on that and ask for help and to come together and kind of recognize some of it's recognizing the trauma and acknowledging that is like the first step to kind of start being able to ask for help and come together as a community, whether it's a family or a small community or in the case of Charlottesville as a wider community.
Well, I think what's beautiful about this record, Line of Light, is you're creating positive messages from very deeply personal and painful experiences, and that really reflects there's a hopefulness to it, no matter what may have been lurking underneath. There's a beauty in the hopefulness of the music in the new album. Can we hear another song?
Yeah, we'd love to. This is another one from Line of Light. It's called Equal in the Darkness, and it was inspired by all these things we've just been talking about, but also we've been doing blindfolded concerts in Charlottesville where we blindfold our audience. And so I was trying specifically to write a song for that experience or inspired by that way of performing. And so I set up, it's a kind of a conversation between light and dark, good and evil.
All right.
It goes like this.
David Wax Museum live at WYCE.
Light will find you if you open your eyes tonight. Light will remind you of all that you try to hide. You can choose blindness out of love or out of fear, mindful or mindless, either way you might disappear. When the shadow of night drifts in, I feel alright again. Sometimes I just wanna fade far from all the light we made.
Why you wanna be like that? Why you gonna burn the map? The way back, dark as panther, no way now you're gonna find the answer.
Equal in the darkness, equal in the darkness, equal in the darkness. Doesn't everybody wanna live like this? Equal in the darkness, equal in the darkness, equal in the darkness. Doesn't everybody wanna live like this? Maybe I'm too scared, not sure that I'm prepared to have my secrets out betrayed. Isn't there another way?
Light's the only hope you got, shows you all the things you're not. Sky so wide it's measureless, your heart's not a willingness.
Equal in the darkness, equal in the darkness, equal in the darkness. Doesn't everybody wanna live like this? Equal in the darkness, equal in the darkness, equal in the darkness. Doesn't everybody wanna live like this?
Studio X at WYCE. The new album is called Line of Light. They will be playing the new Listening Room venue tonight with Heather Maloney opening. David, are you from Missouri?
Oh, yeah. Columbia,
Show Me
Missouri.
State?
The Show Me State.
Columbia?
I grew up, born and raised in central Missouri. and we're actually going to finish the tour there.
I'm from
That'll be the
Kansas
last.
City myself.
Oh, right on.
So there was a Missouri connection there I wanted to work in somehow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's talk Missouri, man. Come on. Well, the thing is, in my part of the state, we root for the Cardinals.
See, we're a Royals side. Although I remember when in the 80s, I was like, I don't know, 8 years old, the Cardinals and the Royals were both in the World Series, which was really cool.
Yeah, that was a defining moment in my childhood as well.
Yeah. It's always something I always remember was living in the state where both teams in the World Series were in the same state. I thought it was so cool. You ended up going to Harvard. Where did your interest in rural Mexican folk music come from?
Well, you probably can trace it back to my cousin Jordan got really into the Buena Vista Social Club record when it came out. And so that was like the first kind of foot into Latin folk music, into son. And then I was really fortunate. I was in college for the first 2 years in California, and I spent my summers in a rural village in Mexico, kind of doing community development work. And I was placed like with a homestay situation with a family of musicians that were playing this style of son Huasteco. And so I was really fortunate to kind of have that enter my life at the right moment. And then at the same time, I was kind of getting hooked on Latin American history and culture and politics and food and just the whole, falling in love with that whole culture and kind of having that blow my mid-Missouri mind. And I ended up studying Latin American history and literature at Harvard then and getting money from Harvard to go back to Mexico to study folk music after I'd graduated.
What is the name of these guitars? There's certain instruments. Can you explain these instruments that you play?
Sure. Yeah, the ones, on the record, on that last song I play, Huapanguera, which is from this central Mexico region, La Huasteca. It's kind of such a hassle to tune. It's these like huge handmade instruments. So I've just transposed that to a guitar for that song. But the first one I started on, and the one that I play a lot during our sets, is a jarana jarocha. It's from southern Veracruz, Mexico. And it's used in a style of music called son jarocho, which is where La Bamba comes from. It's kind of like an Afro Caribbean style of music. And that's kind of what we end up drawing the most from, actually, as a band. The songs really have lent themselves well to inspiration. And so a lot of our songs are based on traditional son jarocho music.
And Suze, your fiddle, tell me about your interest in that instrument, and then you also play other instruments as well, correct?
Yeah, I grew up in a very musical family. My parents insisted that we each take lessons in 2 different instruments. We were homeschooled, so we had lots of time to practice, and it was like part of our daily routine to practice, for me, piano and violin. And as when we were starting the band, David's cousin Jordan Wax was an integral part of, we've already mentioned him, integral part of our band, and he's a really amazing accordion player, among other things. But he left the band to start his own traditional New Mexican folk band in Santa Fe called Lone Pinon. You should check it out.
Okay.
And so when he left the band, I thought, somebody should play the accordion. I guess it'll be me. So I picked up the little accordion that I have now.
I think it's great because you've got the traditional Mexican folk elements of it. You've got the Appalachian kind of violin thing. It's a beautiful fusion of sounds. And these sounds you can hear tonight at the listening room when David Wax Museum takes the stage. Can we hear one more song?
We'd love to.
All right.
Love to. This is my favorite song from the new record. It's called Big Sur. 1, 2, 3, 4.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Lot of light around her skin. Oh, how she eases me in. A bare room, an oak tree, a rainstorm and everything. Up above, planets circle round their suns. As in love, I finally found the one. Can't knock me off course now that I've found the source. La 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 la, la 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 la, La 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 la, la 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 la. A burning dream, a sleeping ghost, courthouse vows and down the coast. Big surf, big sway, the past left in disarray. Down below, the river hides its current. Sometimes we go secret like a serpent. Can't knock me off course now that I've found the source. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. But is my love strong enough? Is it strong enough for you? Is my love strong enough? Enough to get you through? Shaking ground's an imitation of this quaking love. Can't fake this love. Worldly things, they are a pale shade next to the love we made. Love we made. In our hearts we harbor so much fear. Let's leave it here. Leave it here. Our love washed of all impurities. It's pure to me. Pure to me. But is my love strong enough? Is it strong enough for you? Is my love strong enough? Enough to get you through?
The new album, Line of Light, is out now. We have added it to the WYCE Music Library. David WYCE Museum will be performing tonight at the Listening Room with Heather Maloney opening. Thank you guys so much for coming in today.
Our pleasure. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Back to Jerry in the studio.